Hello mga ka-Simpol! Here we are again sa ating paboritong online cooking show ng Pinoy netizens around the world, ang Simpol. And today, magluluto tayo ng isang classic Pinoy dessert na lagi nating namimiss lalo na pag medyo tapos na yung Pasko at medyo malayo pa yung Christmas season. At syempre ngayon, papasarapin pa natin gamit ang cheese. So today, ang gagawin natin ay isang very simple recipe of Cheesy Bibingka made more special with Eden.
Simpol, simpol, luto na
Dahil masarap magluto at kumain together, tatawagin ko ang aking assistant, si Andrew. Andrew will help me today. Say hello, Andrew.
Hi.
Hello, sige. So, sisimulan na natin yung ating recipe na Cheesy Bibingka. First, we're going to separate our ingredients. So, nandito yung dry ingredients and dito sa kabilang side, ating wet ingredients. So, we'll start off. Andrew, please sift the ingredients. So, we have flour. We're using 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And we're using 1/2 cup of rice flour. Hindi malagkit ha, rice flour. Regular rice flour. And 3/4 cup of sugar. So, ako hindi ko gusto masyadong matamis yung bibingka para pag kinain ko yung cheese, as in, lasap na lasap mo yung lasa ng keso. And 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Yan. So, yan. Isisift na yan ni Andrew. Ako naman, ko-combine ko naman yung wet ingredients dito sa kabilang bowl ko. Meron akong 1 cup of water. Yan. Then, 1 cup of evaporated milk or gata. So, depende kung ano yung flavor na gusto mo. But in this case, I'm using evaporated milk para mas, mas neutral siya at mas lalabas yung cheesiness ng ating cheesy bibingka. Yan. And 3 eggs, 3 whole eggs. Yan. And 4 tablespoons of melted butter. So, yan. I-beat ko lang siya together, combine. Yan, that's good enough, Andrew. Yan. And I'm going to pour. Yan. So, mix together so that all our ingredients are evenly combined. I'll pour my wet ingredients into the flour mixture little by little hanggang makombine siya. Yan. Di ba masarap kabanding sa pagluluto ang ating mga alaga sa bahay? Yan. Yan. So, Andrew is learning to cook kaya sinasama ko talaga siya pag gumagawa kami ng mga ganitong mga dishes at mga specialty. No? So, yan. We just combine it until it's a smooth batter. Yan. Oops, good enough. Don't overmix. Don't overmix as long as makombine siya. That's already okay. Yan. So, para kang gumagawa lang ng pancake batter, di ba? But to make it even more special and cheesy, I'm going to grate cheese. So, please grate cheese half of the barley. So, di ba pag kumakain tayo ng matamis, gusto natin na may konting alat to be able to balance flavor. So, sometimes kumakain tayo ng bibingka, di ba nasa topping lang yung cheese. Pero gusto ko, every bite, may cheesiness na lalabas. Kaya ito, ginagawa ko, dinadagdagan ko ng grated cheese ang aking bibingka batter. Yan. Good enough? And we just fold it in. Very simple, di ba? Sobrang simple ng ating recipe. Yan. And let's clear up. Yan. Oh. Yan. And meron akong pan. So, I don't have to buy yung bibingka pans, di ba? Pupunta ka pa ng palengke. So, I'm just using a regular pie pan. This is around 9 inches. 8 or 9 inches is fine. And meron tayo ditong banana leaves. Yan. So, we put the banana leaf. So, hindi ko na siya ilalagay over the stove. Gagawin ko, gagamit na ako ng blowtorch. And we preheat our oven to 190 degrees. Isa sa masarap at masayang bonding moments at home ang pagluluto, di ba? Pero minsan kailangan din nating mas pabonggahin ang ating pagluluto by making simple and ordinary recipes more special. Kaya dito sa bahay, we make sure na we do something extra like adding cheese to our favorite dishes para mag-level up ito so that when we eat together, mas masarap ang bonding at masarap kasama ang mga tao na nagkakainan. With this delicious and cheesy dessert, we are able to savor every moment with Eden. So ngayon, ready na yung ating pan with our banana leaf. And lalagyan natin siya ng ating batter, no? Bibingka batter. So, isang recipe natin na ginawa today, pwede tayong gumawa ng malaking 2 or 4 na medium or 6 na maliliit. So, it really depends on you. And I'll just put like 2 cups of the mixture per pan. Here. And ilalagay na natin, Andrew, please put it into our oven. And later, when it's almost parang half-cook siya, doon na natin ilagay yung ating additional cheese on top para maganda yung melting niya sa taas. And what's nice about this recipe is you can make the batter ahead of time, like gagawa ka na ahead. Then, kung kakain na kayo after eating, pwede mo na siyang isalang sa oven by pan. So, hindi mo kailangan na gawin mo na siya agad then lulutuin. So, you can just keep it in your refrigerator up to 2 days. But yung gagawin mo lang, huli mo na siya ilagay yung egg. So, you mix all the other ingredients and before baking, you add the egg and you're ready to bake your bibingka. So, kids, if you want to help your mom or your dad in the kitchen, remember to be very careful because this torch is very hot. And let's exchange places. Ngayon, ihahanda ko yung aking cheese for our topping. Ang tip ko dito is when you're working with cheese, ay importante is it's chilled bago you start slicing. Kasi kung hindi siya naka-chilled, medyo mahirapan ka mag-handle kasi malambot kasi it melts very fast. So, we have our knife and we soak it in warm water. So, we just slice into strips, no? Gagawa tayo ng cheese sticks. Very easily, tingnan mo, hindi messy yung ating pag-slice ng ating cheese. Kahit madaling mag-melt siya when it's in the oven. Yan. You put a little bit of cheese, sobrang sarap niya. Dahil nagbabalance off yung sweetness and yung saltiness. Yan. And our bibingka is cooked halfway. So, meron ako dito nakaslice na itlog maalat. And my cheese sticks dito. Yan. And I will just arrange it over our baking bibingka. Here. So, yung ginagawa ko ay I bake it halfway, around 10 minutes. Umalsa na siya, medyo nagfo-firm na siya before I put my cheese on top. Para maganda siya na sa taas, hindi siya yung nakatago underneath kasi lumubog na siya sa ating very wet batter. Yung Eden Original na may milky, creamy, and cheesy taste ay perfect para sa palaban. Yun ang nakasanayan natin. Pero yung gamit natin ngayon ay Eden MeltSarap that is perfect for dishes na gusto natin na nagme-melt-melt yung cheese sa taas. Like mga lasagna, baked mac, and even bibingka in this case. Paskong Pasko talaga yung ating bibingka. Yan. And we continue baking for another 12 to 15 minutes hanggang maluto na fully yung ating bibingka at medyo caramelized na rin siya sa taas. And luto na yung ating bibingka. Yan ang ating bibingka. And just put some butter on top. Yan. Super nice ang ating bibingka. And here it is, our cheesy bibingka, made more special with Eden. Nakakain na kami. For you and for me. I want a little bit of coconut. May masubado. Remember mga ka-simple, no family moment is too ordinary sa paghahanda natin ng desserts. Made more special with Eden. We can make everyone in the family savor every moment at home. So mga mommies and daddies, titos and titas out there, feel free to recreate this dessert with Eden cheese and make your own Pinoy dessert at home. Basta simple, siguradong kaya nyo. Here it is, our cheesy bibingka, Simpol! Yehey! Kakain ako! Nagustuhan niyo ba ang video na to? Please share para lalong dumaming ating mga ka-simple. And don't forget to subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube and Instagram accounts.